71-ton Jagdtiger was the heaviest armored fighting vehicle used operationally during World War II. Driving and commanding this behemoth was the hardest job in the entire Panzerwaffe. Unlike the large majority of the German tanks, which had a 5-man crew, the Jagdtiger had a crew of 6: a commander, gunner, loader, assistant loader, driver, assistant driver, MG operator. The extra crew member was the assistant loader. He was needed because the gun used a 2-part ammunition, which meant that the main projectile and the propellant charge were loaded in the gun breech separately. 2 loaders were tasked with this work, one for each type. Tiger I tank ace Otto Carius commanded the second of 3 companies of Jagdtigers in Schwere Panzerjägerabteilung, so Heavy Tank Hunter Battalion 512. His post-war memoir provides a rare combat history of the 10 Jagdtigers put under his command. He states that the Jagdtigers were not utilized to their full potential due to several factors. Among them, that the Allied air supremacy made it difficult to maneuver with the tank. There was another problem as well. The massive heavy gun needed to be recalibrated after traveling off-road for even short distances. The vehicle was slow, having been equipped with the same engine as the already underpowered Tiger II, and the vehicle's transmissions and differentials broke down easily because the whole vehicle needed to rotate for the gun's traverse. The enormous 128mm main gun had to be locked down during the vehicle's maneuvers, otherwise its mounting brackets would have worn out too much for accurate firing afterwards. As such, a crew member had to exit the vehicle in combat and unlock the gun from its frontally mounted gun travel lock before firing. According to Carius, in combat he recorded that a 128mm projectile went through the wall of a house and destroyed an American tank behind it. Insufficient training of vehicle crews and their poor morale during the last stage of the war were also among the problem factors. At the Ruhr pocket, 2 Jagdtiger commanders failed to attack an American armored column about 1.5 kilometers away in broad daylight for fear of attracting an Allied air attack, even though the Jagdtigers were well camouflaged. Both vehicles broke down while hurriedly withdrawing through fear of the supposed air attack that did not materialize, and one was then subsequently destroyed by its own crew. Later, one vehicle fell into a bomb crater at night and was disabled, while another was lost to a Panzerfaust attack by friendly Volkssturm militia troops who never saw a Jagdtiger before and, despite of the German markings, misidentified it as an Allied armored vehicle. The first Jagdtiger lost in combat was during the failed Operation Nordwind offensive in 1945. Rather embarrassingly for what was the most heavily armored vehicle to serve in World War II, this particular Jagdtiger was lost not to combat with other armored vehicles or aircraft, but by American infantry using a bazooka, which at the time was considered an underpowered and ineffective weapon to counter such a massive vehicle. The particular Jagdtiger climbed a hill to attack 5 American tanks 600 meters away, leading to 2 withdrawing and the other 3 opening fire. The Jagdtiger took several hits, but none of the American projectiles could penetrate the 250mm thick frontal armor. However, the inexperienced German commander then lost his nerve and turned around, thus exposing the thinner side armor, which was eventually penetrated and all 6 crew members were lost. Carius also wrote that it was useless when the crews were not trained or experienced enough to have the thick frontal armor facing the enemy at all times.